homework, physics and math.
89%. भव्या को मिले हुए 95. तुम जाके पुलिस में फुटबॉल खेलो, डांस करो कब? चलो बर्थडे बैठो.
Familiar, right? I'm sure all of us have experienced this at least once in our lives. But how awesome would it be if this was a situation we heard every day? Hey mom, I'm back from school.
Hi beta, how was your day at school today?
Very nice.
Yeah, and did you make someone happy?
Yeah, I made Bhavya laugh a lot today.
And did you share a skill or a talent?
Yeah, I taught junior KG dance.
Two babies. Oh nice. And were you a good friend today?
Yeah, I kept Nancy's secret.
Nice. Did that make you happy?
Very.
I'm proud. I'm so proud. The question to ask is, if this was a scenario every day, how different would we have turned out? How do we feel about ourselves if we were valued for more than our marks, numbers and grades?
Hi, we're Jazz and Simran, and we don't prefer to introduce ourselves as students of the Riverside School, but rather as co-creators of our learning experience. Before we start, a short glimpse of what learning looks like in our school. What you will see is how rigor, relationships and relevance, they form a glue of our everyday experiences. So here is our second home, Riverside. Sound? Client project. Student exposure. Experiment. Presentations. Workshops. Marketing, we'll be looking at HR, we'll be looking at product management, we'll be looking at production, and looking at every role, like all the HODs play a major role in the business, and how without the meetings or without all the congenial atmosphere, the business will fall apart. So it's really nice to see veteran radiators function and to apply whatever we have learned in the real world aspect. Idea where we go to the civil hospital every Saturday and spend some time with the cancer patients.
मेरा नाम मोहम्मद सालम है, मेरा एक्सीडेंट हो गया था रिक्शा से, कैंसर की गांठ हो गई थी फिर कोई नहीं आया जब तक 8 महीने से हुए हैं, पहली बार आई। हाँ बस दोबारा मिलने की तमन्ना है।
Do very, very well.
And it shows. As you can see, we've been outperforming the top 10 schools in India. But that is not why we're standing out. We're standing here because we're standing up for who we are.
And this is our story. We should pause and just rewind to grade 8 because our exams were just around the corner and we chanced upon this startling article of 13-year-old Mukta who committed suicide due to the pressure of her exams. And that hit us. I mean, how could a child feel so desperate that they had no other option left but to take one's life? This was truly shocking, and we did a little more research and the data was, it stunned us. India has one of the highest suicide rates in the world, and you will not believe that 40% of those are adolescents.
That's us, that's Jazz, Simran and everybody in the audience.
It was, something was and something is really wrong with the education system. And we were not going to just stand there and watch it go by, watch more articles come in the papers. And so we decided that we have to do something about it.
And we did. We began with asking ourselves this question: is our identity only defined by our marks? As in, am I just a 64% or a 98%?
Or an A or a B or a C? Am I just a number or am I also a name?
Yeah. And then, so we went about imagining an evaluation system that values the plurality of our identity, which is more than just this. So here's a student, Francis, who is satisfactory in arithmetic or good at English and good at history. But we know nothing about Francis as a friend or as a son, or even generally as a person.
All you see here are just subjects and letters. Nothing about Francis as a person, as she said.
Yeah. So the third thing we did, and this was throughout 8th grade, was design a curriculum that empowered us to unravel the various layers of our identity. And when we started prototyping it with ourselves, it gave us an enormous sense of well-being. So we knew it had to be shared.
Yeah, so we sent this rough curriculum that we had to Stanford Design School, and we got some really interesting insights on the design aspect of the curriculum. We also conducted workshops with teachers in Kalor, Rajkot and Army schools, to explain them how they can integrate this into their program and their curriculums. We even prototyped our curriculum with the school in Bhutan. And it was always a work in progress. It was constantly prototyping, constantly refining, changing, getting it to date so that it works best. So every single time the subsequent grade 8, because we did this when we were in grade 8, every next grade 8 that came in, they would add their touch to it, so it would make the curriculum work.
Now, do you think this is future? No, but exams are basically methods of showing how you're good at academically or in sports or something. It doesn't, people can be good philosophers or they can give good guidance. Exams is evaluation, but this is introspection.
Exploring, revealing, uncovering, discovering became the mantra. Write a legacy.
A boy, a writer, UN supporter, a friend to many, a poet, an actor, a cynic and pessimist at times.
Does it give a better sense of who you are?
Yes, the cynic and pessimistic is new.
Taking an identity t-shirt, show that your t-shirt is perfectly smile.
Oh,
And then you might have an identity parade. Yeah.
This one here. She has an interesting prompt. And she's from this one. Find out the identity. Oh, nice. What he says, find out the identity of your family, relatives, family. That's a good one to do. Do it not only for yourself, get everybody in the family to make an identity t-shirt.
Identity keeps
This year, not because I got to compare three point of views. Like in the t-shirt, there were three people, my peers and me. But in the legacy, I have my parents, my peers, and myself.
Our identity curriculum is okay. Let's understand that identity is not only the marks that they get. It's what the choices, their personality, their character that makes the most of that.
So you're making pieces of the legacy. We explain that like very.
Today's performance, we all have a lot of comments. Not many people say that we hate the people who discourage us and we never talk to them again. But we all would like to say thank you. Thank you, because if they had not discouraged us, we would have never been able to understand our identity.
So now we just shared exactly how the format of all these explanations look like. It starts with a
No,
it starts with a note to the stakeholders, which is essentially a rationale to the teachers, parents, and of course the students. And it talks about how the curriculum doesn't only make the students care about math, science, and English, but also about empathy, engagement, and excellence.
Yes, and comics are always fun. So we added a comic in between, and it was really targeted towards teenagers and adolescents. So we wanted to make it fun and engaging. We also had examples, extra reading material, interesting sites, YouTube links, and even prompts. So one of the prompts that we had was for the introspective letter, which we'll talk about. A glad, mad, sad, which is essentially you reflect upon experiences that have made you glad, mad, and then sad. And it acts like a thick start for your introspective letter.
So talking about our favorite inspirations, mine happens to be the introspective letter. So I'll just begin with that. Using the glad, mad, sad prompt, I realized I'm glad when I'm part of an intellectual discussion. I'm mad when I encounter something, injustice. And I'm really sad when I lose a friend.
Yeah,
I'm deeply emotional.
I can verify that.
So, and as for design, when I did it 3 times a year, I realized how it changed.
For me, what worked best was the identity t-shirt. And because I was able to make my plurality of identity not only visible to myself, but to the people around me, my peers, my friends, my teachers. So here is a picture of my identity t-shirt that I made long time ago. And so I was able to make people see that I was
A coconut.
a coconut, okay, hard from the outside, soft from the inside. I am a closet guitarist, and I am an explorer at heart.
Another inspiration that we both found really helpful was the CV. Yeah, you don't really associate CV with teenagers, but essentially it's like a list of all the achievements in the various things we tried and enjoyed over the years.
Yeah, and even participation counts. You don't have to win it to list it. But what the CV helps you do is, at the end of the year, when you see, okay, I was an initiator, I was a participant and a winner, I was a member of the core team, I was playing Gujarat, you get an enormous sense of well-being. Say, oh my God, at 15 or at 16, I was able to achieve so much. I mean, it gives you a boost in your well-being, and that's a really nice feeling to have.
So now our friends Karthikeyan, Minal and Pooja would like to share their favorite inspirations, so have a look.
The legacy is my favorite exploration because it just lists out who I am completely. I can be a boy, an Indian, a writer, a voracious reader, introvert, and so many more things. For the legacy, you just write down everything that comes to your mind when you think of yourself. And then you ask teachers, parents, and peers about what they think about you. And a mixture of all of these gives you your legacy in compact.
Personally, I don't count myself as an artistic person, but when I did the exploration, I found that it's not about art, but rather about expressing yourself through colors. And this came very naturally to me as I associated emotions with colors. For instance, red for me is happiness, so I put a lot of red in my painting.
So at the end of the identity course, we do this identity poem, which is basically a very creative way of portraying whatever we've discovered about ourselves. And I really personally enjoyed the poem because after reading my poem, I realized that I was such a holistic person that I could be so many different things and yet be me. So it felt really good and I really enjoyed it.
Now, you must be wondering why we call them explorations and not chapters of the curriculum. It's because we believe what we are remains constant, but who we are changes every day. So, 3 years down the line, we're still discovering and uncovering our identity. And I think that's true for all of us sitting here. So,
yeah, a great man once said that the greatest challenge in life is not only to be yourself, but constantly become yourself in a world that's trying to change you and make you someone else. But don't get us wrong, through the curriculum, we're not trying to say that marks are not important. What we're saying is that it's time to consider how important they are.
So we just like to reintroduce ourselves. I'm Simran Singh, and I'm a footballer, an actor, an aspiring author. I have some interest in neuroscience, and yeah, I bunk classes sometimes.
To climb trees?
Yeah,
To climb trees.
But I'm trustworthy.
I'm very trustworthy. And I'm Jazz, and I'm a dancer, a choreographer, a poet, interested in law, a guitarist, and I do also sometimes bunk class to get her down from the trees. So what we're saying is, and one thing that we want to leave you with, a last thought, is that standing out was not making us different, but standing up for our identity, standing up for who we are, and that was helping us make a difference. Thank you so much.